There's a lull in the speaking, so I'll start the meeting. Please arise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Everyone's Rotarians or Rotarians in spirit, right? Ed, your wife might as well be Rotarian, right?
Well, in case you want me to introduce Vicky, this was my wife, Vicky.
Okay. She's come to a lot of meetings, so I recognize her. So, okay.
She's been to a lot of more.
Do you remember your name? Yeah.
Oh,
It's good to see you.
yes. Oh,
President
yes.
Laura, fellow Rotarians, and yes, the fellow Rotarians, I'd like to introduce my granddaughter, Hazel.
Yeah, Hazel brightens up the room. Kind of offsets you a little bit, yeah. But anyway, she's always welcome. So yeah, no other visitors to welcome. Let's start with announcements. Does anyone have Rotary or non-Rotary announcements?
I'll have a non-Rotary announcement, sir.
Yes.
On 4th of July at 10:30, there will be an old car parade, the annual old car parade that will start at Whale Park and go down the thing, and then turn right on Lake Street and then go up. What's that street? And then up Edgecombe, and then down the other street that's really steep, and out to HBR, and turn around and come back, and go down Catley Inn, and end it up under the bridge.
Okay.
So if you're out in that area, or if you know people that have an old car, let them know, please. Hi, Jay.
How are you defining an old car?
An old car, sir, will be defined as any car that you want to put in the thing or anything that's unique. It could be a motorcycle, too.
What if it just had a for sale sign on it?
Mine has a for sale sign on it, too.
There you go.
And an older person in a newer car is okay too, right? Yes. Anyway,
Is there a charge to be in the parade?
Not that I know of.
Jeff will gladly pay.
Would you like to pay?
I don't have an old car, but never mind, yes.
No, it's our pleasure. That's Mr. Jonesy's questions.
yeah, so
Answer 6.
Cents?
the answer is
6
6.
cents.
6, whatever.
Actually, 41.
42.
42.
We,
Sure.
a Rotary announcement, just a reminder for next week. Tuesday is July 4th, so we will not be meeting here, but we should be meeting at around 4 out at Granite Creek for the parade that will be starting this year, not the parade, the duck race parade thingy. The duck race will be starting at 4:30 this year, but we need to be out there earlier than that. John will probably let us know if we need to be out there earlier than that.
It would be my pleasure.
But no meeting here.
Okay, good. And last week I was steaming on my way to Glacier Bay, first time I've been there, on Tuesday. So totally missed everything, but I'm sure everyone who helped with the duck audit was thoroughly thanked last week. And that's always a big deal, and it went well this year, right? Decent.
Record time,
Record time?
45 minutes less than last year with 1,000 more done,
Whoa,
and a third less people.
a third less people. Good job, everyone who helped. Any other announcements, Catherine?
I wanted to thank everyone that's given money to the Tanzanian school kids. If anyone else wants to give money, please let me know today. And we're about halfway to our goal. And so yeah, and I also messed up. I didn't arrange the Zoom with the girls while they were on their break. So we're gonna have to do it in September when they're on break then, because they're back at boarding school. So I didn't plan that in time, and I apologize to the club. But anytime anyone wants to check in, we can at least find out how they're doing with the school and stuff. So
Sounds good. Yes.
President Lauren, Rotarians, I have another announcement. from Shannon and me. So we are still looking for host families for the incoming exchange student who should probably be here mid-August. I believe we might have a welcome family for a few weeks for when he first gets here, but we need people for after that. We're not saying you guys have to do it. If you want to do it, let us know. But if you know somebody who you think might enjoy having an exchange student stay with them, the people, you can be single, you can be married, you can have kids, you can not have kids, as long as you have a room, a separate bedroom for the person, or even a shared bedroom as long as there's 2 beds, you know, with kids, that's fine. So if you guys know of anybody, let us know, or have them contact me or Shannon. And if you guys are interested, let us know. Thank you.
Any other announcements? I am going to quickly thank Ed McFadden for scheduling everything in June for our meetings. He's the speaker today. In fact, he did such a good job scheduling speakers that he's taking July also. So just in case no one heard that. So good job, Ed. Just booking them up, doubling up. But I'll turn the time over to Ed for our meeting today.
Sharon, did you want to go first before I go?
You want me to do that?
Did you want to do that at the end or at the start?
Oh, we're gonna do it at the end.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see if we can get this set up. This is Sean. And while we're setting up, Vicki is going to pass out some
Chips, guacamole?
homemade guacamole and chips. Fresh
Grab the chicken
just
and
before the meeting.
Avocado, please?
You want me? Okay.
Thank you.
I think I got it, John. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to be talking about avocados today, and the way I thought I could get people to come would be to title Sex Life of Avocados and Other Mysteries Revealed. Okay, some basics about avocados. There are hundreds of varieties of avocados. What you see in the store is usually one variety, which is the Hass avocado. So about 80% of the avocados sold in the United States are the Hass variety. But there are many, many other varieties. The Hass avocado was actually from California. It was a seedling developed by Rudolph Hass, and it first came around in 1928. So almost all the avocados sold worldwide are from California. Avocado trees originated in southern Mexico and Central America and South America, but the variety that we like and love is from California. So this is just some examples of some other avocados that are found worldwide. The Walter Hull is a little tiny avocado that we use as a pollinizer, and I'll explain what that is later. And you can get avocados up to 5 pounds. Usually the larger ones are kind of watery. They aren't as rich and creamy as the Hass avocado. But there's a lot of variation in the avocado world. Trees can be over 60 feet tall. We try to keep them shorter just because it's very difficult to pick a very tall tree. Most avocados in California are grown along the coast. This just shows the different districts as divided up by the California Avocado Commission. But it's places that are not too cold, not too hot, not too much rain, which we don't have to worry about in California. But there are about 2.4 billion pounds of avocados sold a year in the United States. Most of those come from Mexico. Between about 200 million and 500 million come from California. So California has a minority of the crop now. But they are the best avocados. So every avocado that you buy nowadays comes from a tree that was grafted. And the way that's done is a seed is planted. When the shoot comes up, a rootstock is grafted to that, so a small slip of a different avocado is put on there. And this, it's a two-part process. Then roots are encouraged to grow on that rootstock while it's still attached to the seedling. And then once that second graft, or the second avocado pops up, they graft a half avocado on it. So there's actually two grafts. And then the tree you get, they cut off the original seedling rootstock. But the reason for doing that is because that way you get an exact genetic duplicate of a house avocado or whatever rootstock you want. And the rootstocks are important because some are developed to resist high salt soils or different conditions. So you when you shop for an avocado tree, you pick your variety and you pick the rootstock that will work best in your growth. Avocados are produced mostly in big commercial nurseries. This happens to be Brokaw Nursery down in Ventura County. This is an avocado crew. Well, this is a crew of planting avocados. This happens to be in backyard of where Vicki and I lived for the last 35 or so years and raised our kids. The lower right-hand corner is an avocado grower and her faithful doggy. Harvesting avocados. Every single avocado is picked individually. They can't be mechanically picked, but they're picked by hand, either walking up to the tree with a special clipper. This is an avocado clipper. There's a leather strap that fits on your hand, so you can have your hand kind of free. Or they're picked with a picking pole. Now, I have thousands of photographs of avocado farming, but I didn't have a single one that showed people picking with a picking pole. So you get Congresswoman Julia Brownlee picking avocados when I was demonstrating how avocado culture is done. So that's name dropping all over the place, but she is represents our district and is a great friend of agriculture in California. So when the avocados are picked, they're picked into an avocado picking sack. It holds about 80 pounds of avocados. Goes like this. Pickers pick, fill that up, and then when the bags are full, they go over to a bin, and there's kind of like a quick release on the bag. And the avocados are dumped in fairly gently. You don't want to bruise the avocados. How's it guacamole? Very good. That's all Vicki. Okay, so the fruit is carefully unloaded into big bins that hold about 1,000 pounds of fruit. The fruit's consolidated. We weigh each bin. We get a net weight for every bin. We used to track all the avocados going in and out. Then they go to a packing house. I'm going to try to show you with can everybody see the cursor moving on the screen? Mm-hmm. So a modern avocado packing house has a number of lines. There are 9 lines where fruit goes. Fruit are fed onto little cups that flip up. They go through a computerized device that spins the avocados around. It takes multiple images of the avocados and evaluates quality, and it also weighs the fruit. So the avocados go through there, and it's just really, really fast. It's amazing how quickly they go. And at the proper place, the little cup flips the avocado out so it goes into an area with all the same quality and weight of avocados. Avocados are number 1 fruit, rated as number 1 fruit, number 2 fruit, number 3 in coals. You see almost all number 1 fruit. Number 2 fruit has slight blemishes, but no breaks in the skin. Number 3 fruit is nasty looking stuff and is sold real cheap. And coals are throwaway. But
What percentage,
pardon me?
in general, what percentage falls in each of those categories?
So we felt good if our number 2 fruit and coals totaled less than 8%. So the vast majority if everything's working right, if you've done a good job of your pest control and you didn't have too much wind, you should have 90-95% number one fruit. Now the difference in price and return between the number one and the number two could be half of what the number one is. So you don't want a lot of number two fruit. This just shows, you probably can't read much of that, but it's a size chart that shows the size and grades of avocados. But avocados are sold in a 25-pound carton. And so for size 48 pieces of fruit fit in a 25-pound carton. So they're graded by size. Generally, the larger sizes are sold for more money than the smaller sizes. It's just more views of a modern packing house. Lots of avocados. Those are the returns the avocados growers were getting last week. So, getting to the juicy stuff, avocado reproduction. Avocados have a lot of flowers. A mature tree can have over 1 million flowers on it. Now, a good crop for avocados would be 10,000 pounds an acre. At half a pound a piece of fruit, you need about 200 of those to get a good crop. So if you have 200 fruit, or 200 flowers that set fruit and finish the fruit, you've done a good job. More than that is even better, but there are a lot of avocado flowers that just fall off. Almost all the avocado flowers fall off. Avocado flowers are very small. They're about a ½ inch across. They have both male and female parts to them, but they're unique in that the male and female parts are active at different times. So for example, house flowers have a 2-day cycle, and they tend to have the male flowers, part of the flowers, the anthers tend to produce pollen in the morning, and the stigma, the female part, tends to be receptive in the afternoon. So, how do you get it to pollinate if the parts are not active at the same time? Well, there are other varieties of trees that are exactly the opposite. So, the female flowers are, part of the flowers are active in the morning, the males in the afternoon. So what you do is you mix up pollinizers. A pollinizer is something that provides pollen, like a tree. A pollinator is something that spreads pollen. We're going to get to that in a little bit. So this happens to be a spreadsheet of a particular block I designed that shows how the pollinizers, the different varieties other than hats, are scattered throughout the block. And so the different colors represent different types. Z is Zutano, E is Eniger. There are a half dozen different varieties that we use depending on what we're trying to do. Some flower earlier, some flower later. So we try to get times where we have some early and late flowering that will catch the spread of the house flowers. Okay, a little bit of farmer humor. Flower saying, "Thanks for carrying my gametes to my lover." The bee, the pollinator, says, "Don't make it weird, man." So, the most efficient way to get pollen from tree to tree, flower to flower, are insects, bees. They're designed for it. So, what we do in the avocado groves is we'll bring in lots and lots of beehives, and we'll spread them around the grove. One of the groves I managed, we bring in 800 to 1,000 hives a year and scatter them around the ranch. Ideally, you'd have like one hive part by each tree, but that's completely, with 35, 40,000 trees, that's completely impractical. Plus, we have bears, and the bears would tear apart beehives overnight. So I had about a dozen places where I would have beehives placed by beekeepers. We didn't do the bees ourselves. And on a very good day, if the sun is shining and the flowers are open and there's not a lot of competition from other flowers, the bees just go wild. And there's a roar in the grove that you can hear. That happens to be one of the bee sites we had, and it was a really good day, and the bees were going crazy. Bees don't especially like avocado bloom. I like to say that if citrus and wildflowers to a bee would be like a cherry pie, and avocados are like Brussels sprouts. They're like what you eat last. Bees will fly over avocados to get to preferred bloom. But sometimes avocados are the only thing blooming. And when that happens, your bees really forage heavily on the avocados and do a lot of pollinating. So I mentioned we have to have electric fences around all our beehives down south in the farms I manage because the bears, we had a lot of bears. So avocado flowers form in a spike. You can see just the buds starting on the picture on the left. They expand out into panicles or spikes that may have several hundred flowers on them. The blooms open. Blooms can be spread out over a month and a half. Flowers open, bees do their thing, the 2-day cycle. After the 2-day cycle, the petal, it looks like petals, but they're actually a different structure. The flowers fold, and a few days later, if they're pollinated, the little tiny fruit there, I'm going to point out some here, here, here. Little fruit starts to expand those out, and the farmers start getting excited. You start seeing that you set a crop. Now it's a long way till you're going to pick it, but if you don't set it, you don't get it. So the fruit gradually grows. A single spike might have dozens of avocados sit on it. The tree cannot physically hold more than 1 or 2 on each one of those spikes or panicles, so they have to fall off. There's a time called June drop, where the trees start to shed their fruit, and you're watching them every day, you're hoping that they don't shed all the fruit, because if you get a hard wind or dry conditions or heat wave, the trees will drop their fruit. So they get bigger and bigger. We say we have BBs, and we have peas, and we have olives, and we just use all sorts of descriptive terms as we're excitedly describing the tree's fruit as it grows. And so by the end of the season, by the end of the year, if you look up in the trees and you see this, then it worked. It doesn't always work. And I can't have a slideshow without having a granddaughter in it, so that's granddaughter dressed up as an avocado.
What kind of
You're in
what
Sitka.
kind of conditions do you have to produce orange avocados?
You have to have a granddaughter who wants to go to the pumpkin patch at the Seymour.
So Ed, you
Yes.
can have 2 trees next to each other. One has avocados because they took or whatever, and the other totally 0, right?
It can happen.
So,
Yeah.
or heavy, light, it's just tree by tree.
So it's tree by tree. Avocados have a condition, Hass avocados have a condition called alternate bearing. So an individual tree will tend to bloom heavy and set heavy one year and maybe lighter the next year. But it's usually not completely orchard wide, and there's enough of a variation where hopefully you kind of average out with a decent crop. But you can have a crop one year that might be 25,000 pounds an acre, and the next year you could have 2,000 pounds an acre. And trying to budget for that is a nightmare, because you never know, and you can't predict the weather conditions. Avocados are also unique in that you have 2 crops on the tree overlapping. So flowers that bloom this past spring might be mature enough to pick by Christmas, but will probably be picked the next spring, summer, and even into fall. So if you think of an apple tree, apple tree in Sitka, you have, as it gets warm enough, trees bloom, flowers form, fruit set hopefully, and you pick that summer. Avocados go into the next year. And so it's just more time for bad things to happen, really.
Question?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Did I understand it that you have one tree that's not a Hass avocado as the pollinator in the middle, or did I misunderstand what you're saying?
No, so typically we'll put, that spreadsheet that I showed had a ratio of 20 trees, 1 tree being a pollinizer. So having the alternate type of flower. Because the bees are going around and they're just going tree to tree, flower to flower, and they go to dozens of trees. And the odds are good that they'll pick up something from, say, a Zutano, and they'll spread it to the Hass trees that are surrounding the Zutano.
So you do have a second breed of avocado in the middle of the...
Yes, yes. And very often, those are worthless. So we've been trying to plant varieties. Hass avocados have a flowering pattern that we farmers call an A-type flower. The other ones that we want are B-type flowers. So they're alternating the activity of the male and female parts. And we'd love to find B-flowered avocados that are also marketable that people want. For example, if Hass is getting, say, $1.25 a pound, a Zutano, a Bacon, if the houses will take them, might get a quarter or 30 cents. So they're just, most of those we just let fall and the bears eat them. We have really happy bears. We also sell some of them for seed to nurseries who use them for that first stage that I explained, where they plant the seed, the shoot comes up, and you graft the shoot. So, hazards of farming. Why I'm happy to be in Sitka. It gets cold in a lot of places where we grow avocados. It doesn't get too cold, but if avocados are much under 28 degrees for very many hours, it hurts them. If you have a severe frost, you lose the budwood for the next year, and you lose the fruit for the year. You use the budwood for a year and a half from now, use the fruit for next year. So you can lose 2 crops. If it's really severe, you can lose 3 crops, because it freezes so far back down, it takes a year. It takes a tree a year just to grow something up that'll bloom. Heat. The last 10 years, heat has been a problem in California. We've had some really severe heat waves. So that's my dashboard showing 116 degrees while driving up to a grove. And avocados are okay with 95, they're okay with 100, they can take 105 for a while, much over 110, and the trees look like the tree in the photograph on the right. It burns them, and it destroys the fruit and ruins you for 2 years at least. We had a couple of those the last few years. We have some pests that we have to treat for, but actually not nearly as much as many other tree crops. They'll typically spray the trees once a year. And that just shows that we have to use a helicopter because of the topography. This particular ranch that we're spraying there had 800 feet in elevation change from the top to the bottom. So it's all hillsides, ravines. Helicopters just have to do crazy stuff to treat it. And that's a typical avocado farmer looking for bugs on the shot of the right. That's me when I didn't have a beard. We have critters. They're really not too much of a problem. They're more interesting than anything, but we have rattlesnakes. And so around here, I'm kind of used to looking for rattlesnakes, but I don't need to, which is kind of nice. Deer eat the avocados, they damage the young trees, but really don't do enough to hurt the older trees. And then we have black bears that can be any color, they sometimes break trees and break pipes and things like that, but they're more interesting than a problem.
What kind of rattlesnake was that?
That was a Pacific diamondback.
Didn't recognize it.
It's not a big rattlesnake. They're very dark and they're not very aggressive.
Good.
Yeah, I've never had anybody get bit on the ranches in 35 years. I know of people who have been bit, but mostly in other situations. Down south, we get very strong winds, typically during the fall. And you can lose all your crop in just a few hours when it blows real hard. And once the fruit's on the ground, you have to leave it there. We have food safety laws that, where once the fruit touches the ground, we cannot use it, we cannot ship it. With heat and the weather we've been having, we get fires. These are photographs from a very bad fire we had in 2017 that burned everything on the ranch except for the groves where I had sprinklers running. That's a photograph I took kind of over the shoulder as I was evacuating the ranch and getting everybody out and leaving as fast as I could as the fire was sweeping down through the grove. that's what it looks like afterwards. It's not good. Okay, question I get asked a lot. How do you choose a good avocado in Sitka? And the answer is, it's not easy. These are avocados that are actually from Seamart, but you can get decent avocados every place, and you can get bad avocados every place. Part of the problem is, most avocados are shipped from a long ways. The more time is worse, is bad. Less time is better. The best is when you have avocado trees in your backyard like Vicki and I did, and you can go out and just pick whatever you want and get perfect avocados every time. So, fruit from California, I have to push California fruit. This happens to be from California. We have very strict safety protocols on how they're picked, how they're handled in the packing houses. Fertilizer, pesticide use, every aspect is heavily regulated. Maybe not so much from other places. So California fruit, often good, but up here, it may have been a long time since fruit was shipped or picked too. So kind of generally, I would not pick up an avocado that is this dark in the market. I like it a little bit green, partly because it's harder. This is ready to go right now. This was actually a little green when Vicki and I picked it up last Thursday, I think. Any marks, well, simple scarring is okay, but any cut, bruise, anything you can see, any break in the skin is not good. That's an entry point for fungus or bacterial rots. If the top should be not soft, very often the rots will enter at the top, right at the stem. So make sure that's not soft. Avocados that have soft spots or like white mildewy spots, don't pick those up. Just go for hard scarring is okay, but go for avocados that don't have marks and cuts and bruises that you can see. Sometimes you can't see. And I think we've done pretty well there in picking our avocados here in Sitka. Let's see. Timing is important. Avocado, California fruit is best, say, in the spring to the summer. Mexico produces avocados all year long from one region or another, but it's hard to know how long they've been in transit. Organic fruit is really no better than conventionally grown fruit. It's just personal preference. Although I will say that the primary pesticide that we use on conventional avocados, you can also get with an organic label. It's the exact same active ingredient. It just costs more. So, and then the last point, I figure over my career I've produced over 250 million pieces of avocados, and I can still pick a bad one. So good luck. Okay, questions. I get asked, can you grow an avocado tree from seed? Yes, but it probably will not produce a fruit that you can eat, because when you cross, you're going to get something in the seed that is completely different than the parent. Can I grow an avocado tree in Sitka? You can't grow an avocado tree to produce avocados. You can grow it as a houseplant, but you're probably not going to get fruit. And don't put it outdoors and torture it. They're not meant to be here. It's too cold, too wet. So what do you need? We look for well-drained soil, warm conditions, not too hot days, not too cold nights. They will take some heat, they will take some cold. They like frequent shallow irrigation. Avocado trees tend to build up a thick layer of leaf mulch in the grove, and 80% of the roots can be at or in that mulch. So they like to be irrigated frequently. Do avocados contain fat? Yeah, but it's good fat. Do you need bees to produce avocado fruit? Not always, but we enhance the set with bees. Are avocado fruit artificially ripened? Some are. They'll take green fruit, they'll put it in a chamber, introduce ethylene gas, which is a naturally occurring gas that fruit produce as they're ripening, and they can more evenly ripen some avocados. Okay, this is a test, and there are prizes. And they have to be serious answers, Jeff.
Oh, ask Hazel.
Okay. For 2 California avocados, how many flowers can a mature avocado tree produce every year? Wait, I have to go, I'm sorry, I have to go with that.
Wait, like 2 million?
That's about twice as many as a big avocado tree.
What?
About 1 million. Good try. Okay, we'll leave this for you. Okay, for a California Avocado Commission avocado cutter and slicer, in fact we have several here. How many flowers does a tree need to finish out of 1 million to get a decent crop?
Half,
Pardon me?
half of it.
No, that's 500,000. Lauren?
I think you said like 8% of the,
He said 8%, he wants less than 8% to be.
That's number 2's. Okay.
There's someone on the computer.
Someone on the computer?
Was it 200?
Yes.
I was gonna say that.
Whoever that was, you get one of these.
Yay!
Okay, the next question, I didn't really go over, but it was in the presentation. How long does it take to produce a commercial crop once you plant a tree in the ground? Catherine?
6 months to a year. No,
No.
no, 2 years.
2 years.
4 years.
No.
No. 3 to 5 years.
Oh, that was from the blue one.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. What is the most popular variety of avocado in the world and where was it developed? Jeff?
Pass.
Now somebody said,
Haas.
okay, well, we have 2 prizes. Okay, now for
The
the,
bonus question,
yes,
La Habra, California.
yes,
Do you happen to know the address?
the tree died.
Yeah, but.
Yes, I do.
Drive by and see a dead tree, you know?
No, that's not a dead tree anymore, but you can look at a piece of the mother house right here. So, very exciting. Okay, and now the most important question. What region of the world produces the best avocados? And if you get it wrong, you get a huge fine. Jay, okay. You get the, you get the much wanted avocado, California avocado refrigerator magnet. Okay. Questions? I'm going to ask you questions. Are there any questions? Yes, Jay.
How much water does a typical tree need in a year?
It varies by region. We measure that by acre feet per acre per year. An acre foot of water is the number of gallons it takes to cover an acre of ground, which is 43,560 feet with a foot of water. Near the coast, it might be 2 acre feet, so let's say 24 inches of water. Inland, it might be 4 to 5 acre feet.
In comparison to the almond tree, which I understand is the most thirsty tree in California?
It's quite a bit less than almond. I can't quote what almonds are, but I've heard it is less. Part of the difference is it's a whole lot different growing a tree in Bakersfield or Fresno compared to the city of Ventura. It's much cooler on the coast. But total avocado acreage in California is about 45,000 acres. Total almond acres is just under 1 million acres. So almonds are a huge crop. Yes, Dan?
Are there any avocado trees in Alaska?
I've seen seedlings in people's houses. There must be some in greenhouses, like in someplace, but I have never. There just can't be any commercial avocado grows in Alaska. It's too cold. Even south.
Thank you.
How did you get into the avocado business?
I was raised on a citrus and avocado grove, and I liked it, and I was offered a position before I graduated from college, operating groves, and it stuck. So I had a sandbox and a swing set on an avocado tree growing up in our backyard.
Ah, not ah. Avocado, not
How
avocado.
do you say avocado?
However you want to. Avocado.
Avocado?
Okay, here's the tricky one. How do you say Hass avocado? Because I just said it correctly, but people think it's snootier and they say Haas.
I said Hass, that's when I got the right answer.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes.
So is it proper to store avocados in the refrigerator, or are they best out on the counter?
Depends on how soon you want them ripened. If you want them soon, put them in a paper bag on the counter. If you want to retard the ripening process, put them in the refrigerator. So it varies. At home, early in the season, it might take 2 weeks for an avocado to mature. When they're ready to go, it takes a couple of days. Fruit that's been off the tree for a while in Sitka takes a couple of days this time of year. Let's see. You got a question?
Well, I was gonna say, if we ever drive by your house and see a weird tree out there, will you try avocado tree?
I guarantee you I will never grow an avocado tree in Sitka.
But will you try?
Will not try. So where I worked before, I had a total of, 45,000 trees that I was managing. Vicki and I had some trees in our backyard, which we eventually took out, our 28-acre backyard. But I think I've grown enough avocado trees for now. I still love them. Still understand the culture. Rich?
What fruit is the avocado related to? What are its close relations?
There are none. There are none that I'm aware of. There's probably something down in the Central America jungle, but no commercially grown fruit that I'm aware of. Lauren?
So, way back when, I was surprised to find out that some cultures like to eat green bananas, for example, where, I'm used to the, ideally ripened one. Do people eat avocados overripe, underripe? Is there any cultural eating habits other than what we're used to?
I don't know of any way to eat them other than what we're used to. Let them ripen, wait till they're soft, and then slice them up, use them in guacamole and salads, whatever. Vicki, can you think of any way that avocados are used other than mushy and soft? What?
Sushi.
Sushi. They still have to be kind of soft and ripe.
Not green and overripe, that means
Yes.
rotten, so you wouldn't use a hard avocado.
Yeah.
They just don't taste as good.
I'll get to you next. Yes.
What about vitamins?
Avocados are considered a nutrient-dense superfruit. They have a lot of vitamins. I can't tell you what they are, but I believe everything that the doctors we pay to say that say. Yes.
This person and me once looked up how to keep it in the fridge with if it's already cut. So and it said put it in a bowl of water, face down. Is that true?
I haven't tried that. I don't think I want to experiment with a $3.50 piece of fruit either.
It kind of worked, but it didn't.
Did it?
I was that person.
Oh. Vicki, what do you think would be the best way to keep avocados
The
fresh?
key is to eliminate air. You don't want it exposed to air. And so the water thing should work because you're eliminating all air. Or you can just take a piece of plastic wrap, not lay it on top, but squish it down so there's no air pockets at all.
Putting it in the refrigerated water does work. She does it all the time.
Okay. Good. Is the person you need to talk? Good to know.
Excuse me, Ed,
Yes.
I have a question. Did you just deal in the transport of avocados, or did you happen to you make byproducts with avocados, such as avocado oil or anything else?
Decades ago, some of the fruit we sold went to avocado oil. There's no avocado oil processed on a large scale in California anymore. It's all done in Mexico, partly because fruit that goes to processing is sold at a lower price, and everybody wants wants to sell the top grade, best return fruits, so that's not done a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, and I'm gonna, if there are more questions, I can answer more after the meeting, but I've got to turn things over to Sharon. Thank you.
Lauren?
Thank you.
Okay. So as everyone knows, drum roll, today is our last meeting for our Rotary year. So our Rotary years run from July through the end of June. And so today is Lauren's last time presiding over the meeting as president. We may have him fill in sometime else, but then it would be a past president filling in. So, anyway,
And I owe you a few, so.
this is an appreciation for all you've done this year from all of us. I just want to say thank you.
So,
Talk, and I'm going to pass out cupcakes.
so now that was a light clap. Let's have a loud clap that Sharon's president starting next week. But yeah, I guess I'm supposed to say a speech. It's been an interesting year. My first year and a half in Rotary was during COVID.
Thank you.
So I really didn't have a good grasp on what Rotary was, but I think I've seen and learned this year as we started to get back meeting face to face. But the thing I've been most impressed with was I think every single one of you have been president at least once. So I'm now joining your elite group of being a past president. So, and yeah, the club doesn't work. It's a volunteer organization. Everyone's a volunteer. All of you are volunteers. All of you step up and do things, and that's what makes it work. And that's what made it work this year. So all of you deserve credit. Let's stop hearing me jabber and let's turn it into a cupcake eating social time for the last few minutes. But thank you everyone for all your support.